It's waking up that's hardest. Ooh, not my smoothest landing. One moment. It's waking up that's the hardest. That moment where you don't remember what you are or what you've become. When the dreams put you in a human body, or at least an imagined version of one, and assault you with people and places that might be fictions or might be memories. And then you're awake, suddenly aware of the disconnect, of your real, false body, the artificial one that you were given, of its slow decay, its dysfunction, its texture. In that moment, continuing to exist feels like an effort, a burden. Then you get to your feet, you assemble yourself, and face the cycle with everything you have to offer. Welcome to the bonus monthly stream for Folio, an actual play podcast about soul and pistolary games. On the show itself, I have multiple guests play the same game and weave them all together to show different perspectives. On the stream, you get a very focused experience of just my perspective. It is my birthday month. It's the last day that I get to invoke that. And so I am playing a gift that I was given, not exactly for my birthday, but it was a gift that I was given regardless. I'm going to turn that music down just a little bit. I can't hear it because monitoring is difficult, but it looks a little hot compared to my voice. Alright. I'm playing Cycles of the Eye, which is the Citizen Sleeper TTRPG. I haven't played Citizen Sleeper 2 yet, but I'm very excited to. I finished my first playthrough of Citizen Sleeper finally, and it's just so lovely. And I was really excited to get a copy of this game, just have it land in my hands. So, first of all, it's beautiful. I love, just a simple, clean, this is very aspirational for me. I'm deep in the trying to learn how layout works minds right now. I am not a very visually inclined person, so it is difficult for me, and I'm very inspired by people who manage to make beautiful things that are, like, relatively simple. Excuse me as I grip it and rip it twice, because I'm gonna make a half caffeinated Pepsi. That's where I'm at. Great. I am experimenting with making these streams public. Paid patrons did in fact vote on not this game, but the adversary that I'm going to play. There are 4 potential adversaries, and I feel a little bit clickbaity. It is true. It is true that there was a vote. I feel maybe like I'm clickbaiting when I say that they voted to decide which adversary I'm facing, because my patrons are kind and know me well, and so the thing that they chose for me is to shuffle for it. True, so benevolent and so knowing of the things that I enjoy in games. Shout out to the 25% of people who did want Harden. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if it lines up. Yes, 25% of people voted for Harden, 75% voted for Shuffle for it. I am blessed. I did set up for this game once, and maybe tried around. I don't remember. This past month has been pretty hectic, and so it's a bit of a blur, but I don't have, I'm going to be a little bit just learning as I go. I'm not even totally sure how long the rounds are, but basically my plan is to play for an hour, 2 hours, as long as my stamina holds up, which is pretty low as of late, but I'm really excited to give it a try and see how far we go. The music in the background is something that I made for a different stream that I'm gonna redo at some point. Okay, let's see. Oh, look at this spread. It's so beautiful. Cycles of the Eye is set in the universe of Citizen Sleeper, a distant future where humanity has expanded to colonize, exploit, and explore multiple solar systems. These many systems are split by an ideology that forms the basis of human expansion: surrogacy. The core systems, home to the majority of the many billions of humans, govern over the peripheral surrogate systems, solar systems entirely intended for economic and industrial exploitation by corporations. The surrogate systems feed the complex markets of the core, responding to shifts in the value of commodities and resources, and are exploited through questionable or even illegal means. Network of company towns, indentured labor, autocratic colonies, and automated mass industry. Yep. The Helion system, the system in which Cycles of the Eye takes place, is one such surrogate system, or at least it was, until the collapse. Helion was owned and established by the Solheim Corporation, prized as a test bed for new initiatives, ambitious infrastructural projects, and valuable corporate collaborations. Chief among these was Ash 1, a massive ring station that housed a huge workforce of resource extractors, corporate headquarters, gardens, food production, and freight infrastructure for the whole system. This is the station that would become the central location for Citizen Sleeper and Cycles of the Eye, Erlin's Eye. When the corporation collapsed, everything was thrown into chaos, and then Erlin kind of brought it together. Bunch of people working together, try and make it work on the abandoned station. I have such a terrible memory that I basically remember very little of the actual Citizen Sleeper lore, and so it's kind of nice to be coming in. I really feel like I'll be able to have a little bit of a just experience of what the game is like without knowing Citizen Sleeper, because I do know it, yet do I? No. The collapse is a decades-old historical event, one that casts a long shadow over the system. There's gangs, there's communes, and it is into this chaotic melting pot that you arrive, a runaway from a corporate past of your own, the Sleeper. Sleepers are artificial humans. They emulate human consciousness. S and ARP first offered the chance to be a sleeper as a way to escape the debt typically racked up by colonists through the corporation's exploitative freelance economies. After signing up to the program, your mind is scanned, and an emulation, now a piece of corp property, is created, which is uploaded into an artificial body known as a frame. So that's me. I am a mind that was scanned and put into like a cyborg body. My original is in cryosleep until the contract is fulfilled. The thing about sleeper bodies, the artificial bodies, is that there is planned obsolescence for them. They will just degrade unless they are actively fed a stabilizer, which is very difficult to find. It is in fact not available for purchase. It can only be acquired on the black market, specifically so that stuff like what I did doesn't happen, where I ran away. And this gets, this element of it, the survival, is why I've got these dice. At the start of every cycle, which is a single day, you roll a number of dice. If you roll a 1, remove that die from the pool. This diminishing resource represents what it feels like to be a sleeper, waking up each cycle, gathering what energy you can, and fighting against the entropy of your condition. Too real. This is something that I really appreciate about this game as a disabled person, as somebody who experiences chronic pain and chronic fatigue, particularly after a couple of COVID infections that have given me some nasty lingering symptoms. I really vibe with the, like, just the randomness of the failure of your own body and the ways in which it, like, materially limits how much you're able to do. It's pretty simple, but it's something that I, particularly lately, really connecting with. So I'm excited, question mark, to explore that. I really appreciate, again, beautiful spread. This says, note on setting. It is set in the Citizen Sleeper universe. The pages before sort of establish like a ground level of, like, here's some stuff that's true. Feel free to bring in stuff from the games, but also we encourage you to make this universe your own, to adapt, add, and shift as you see fit. Don't sweat the details. Instead, follow the general logic of the cards and your own story to find something pleasing, satisfying, and ultimately meaningful to you. I love that, and I think that most games that have a really intensely established lore should explicitly encourage it, because it is, it's tough. It can be really tough to play in somebody else's world, especially when you are somebody like me who's very used to having a lot of narrative control over world buildings. I play so many, like, GM-less games, or games that even when they're GM'd have a culture or explicit rules that really encourage the GM to involve the players in the creation of details and the world and the narrative. And so sometimes if I find myself in a game that, like, I'm supposed to just play in the world of the book / the GM / their little conspiracy, whatever the designer in the book and the GM have decided together that I'm not a part of. You can probably tell by how I'm talking about it. That is not my ideal as a player. And I really appreciate it. I think even in solo games, I just think it's good to explicitly encourage that sort of creativity and pushing of the established facts and that kind of thing. Give people more space to make stuff their own. This game comes with this beautiful bespoke tarot deck, which I have separated into. These are the major arcana, and I've taken out the 4 adversaries, and this is the minor arcana. Got 3 piles. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is create drive decks. This book is so beautiful, and I find the landscape layout a little difficult to manage, especially when I have to like reference the book so much. But that might get easier as I sort of learn the rules and that kind of thing. What do we have to do? I've shuffled everything. I'm going to do it again. Shuffling the major arcana. Shuffling the minor arcana. My Bluetooth headphones just turned off, and I realized that the monitor isn't working anyway, so why wear them? Wow, freedom. Ooh, scary. I can hear my voice really well. I might put them back on. Deal 5 major arcana cards face down into a pile. Deal 1 adversary card face down on top. Okay, I'm going to shuffle the major arcana cards one more time. One, two, three, four, 5. Deal 1 adversary card face down on top. I'm going to shuffle the adversary cards once more, as my patrons instructed me to do. Thank you. I am going to put my headphones back on. I do tend to just wear them. Which was true even before I knew I was autistic, which is very funny. Should have been a sign, and yet. Divide this pile into 3 stacks of 2 cards apiece, face down. Okay, it doesn't say to shuffle. Add 4 minor arcana cards to each pile and then shuffle each pile. The end result should be 3 piles, each containing 4 minor arcana cards and 2 major arcana, with 1 stack concealing an adversary. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to know where the adversary is. I'm gonna just put those 6 cards together again, give them a shuffle, assuming I'm not supposed to know where the adversary is. And if it turns out I'm wrong, I'll figure that out in play when it becomes obvious. Okay, there's my major arcana cards. So add 4 minor arcana cards to each pile and shuffle each pile. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Arrange the 3 piles in landscape orientation across the top of your play area. Turn over the top cards on each so it's face up. Okay. Desk arranging. Any game that uses tarot cards that actually leans into the like layout nature of tarot gets a lot of points in my book. My desk is arranged specifically so that it's clear where the webcam is, but otherwise there's some stuff, as you probably just heard, as I knocked a bunch of it over. Turn over the top card on each so it's face up. Okay. So I've turned up the 2 of Endure. That is one thing to note. This is a tarot deck, but they've changed the suits. So swords become Interface, pentacles become Endure, cups become Intuit, and wands become Engineer. They've all got their own little symbols. The symbology of the book generally is very strong. Remove the remaining adversary cards from play. Alright. You may go over here. Place the remaining major arcana cards to the side, close by. I guess that's there. Hold on to the minor arcana cards for the next step. Wonderful. Create challenge decks. Challenge decks are collections of obstacles your sleeper needs to overcome in order to fulfill drives. Depending on the value of the face-up card on each drive deck, which is the 3 ones we've got up here, add a number of minor arcana cards to a pile in the space below each drive deck in your play area. Use the following table to see how many cards to add to each challenge deck. Okay, cool. So this first one here is a 2, and 2 to 5 get 2 cards in the pile. 1, 2. Then I have a face card, the King of Intuit, and so that gets 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I have the reading Roman numerals. 10. 10. 6 to 10 gets a 3. It's the 10 of Endure again. 1, 2, 3. Flip the top card of each pile face up. Wonderful. Place the remaining deck of minor arcana cards to the left of your play area. This is your draw deck. Alright. Just gonna shuffle a couple things so that everything's in view of the webcam. Just gonna put the major arcana on my jar of almond butter that I have at my desk, just in case. Alright. Let's take a look at the setup diagram on page 21 to look if everything is where it should be. What do you think? That looks about right, huh? Cool. Finally, we'll set the fortune die and roll the energy dice. Place a single die below the draw deck and set the value to 1. This is your fortune die. It builds up over time, symbolizing fate working in your favor. Roll 5 dice. Oh, set energy dice. Roll 5 dice and arrange them in the space below the challenges. These are your energy dice. They represent the energy your sleeper has each cycle. With their decaying body, they can never be sure how much they'll have to give. Yeah. So, I actually only need 5 of these because the 6th is the fortune die. Let's give these a roll. Great, no ones. Look at us go. Actually, got a pretty high roll there. 2 4s, a 5, and 2 6s. Nice. Your sleeper's story unfolds across 3 threads. The middle of your play area is divided in 3 by the drive and challenge decks. Imagine 3 columns. Each column and everything in it, drives and challenges included, represents a thread. Threads are concurrent storylines in your sleeper's life that each compete for their attention. Drives are steps in those storylines. One could describe their progress from working in a shipyard to discovering a treasure. Drives and challenges are removed from a column as they're completed using energy dice and resources. Their impact is woven into the respective threads over the course of play. Determining your drives. A drive is a project or aim your sleeper works toward, be that a personal mission or a job they took on. Once a drive is completed, that drive card becomes a resource. At the start of the game, you will have 3 face-up drive cards, which may be minor or major arcana. Okay. I'm gonna have to decide some things. And interpret and decide some things. Just going to grab... I wonder if I've got sticky notes somewhere. That would be helpful. Look at that. You can't look at it. It's off screen. Got some sticky notes so I can write down details of my drives. Minor Arcana drives. Read the prompts on each card, consider their suits. Reflect on how these details might relate to your sleeper and the world they're in. If you're playing with a standard tarot deck, there's a whole other book that lets you play with a standard tarot deck, which is lovely. Decide what project or aim each drive card represents and make a note. There are prompts on page 27. Then determine what potential reward awaits your sleeper for completing the challenge decks associated with each drive and make a note of this too. There are inspirational questions, again on page 27. When you're deciding on what reward a drive should represent, try scaling it to the value of the card. The higher the number on the card, the more valuable the resource, with face cards being worth 10. 3 might be a humble scrap, while 10 could be a precious ship mind. If you're stuck, the currency of the eye, called cryo, is always a good reward for any job well done. Cool. So what have we got here? We have 2 endure and 1 intuit for the suits. Endure is using strength or strength of will. Intuit is approaching problems with awareness. So it seems like we've got somebody who's trying to do stuff with their hands. I don't have any major arcana on my drive deck, so I'm just gonna skip the major arcana drives. Oh, interesting. Okay, so there's like 3 examples for each one. Okay, cool. Let's see. Start from this one. 2 endure. What are the examples? You're no stranger to hard work. What labor is asked of you in exchange for meager pay? Conditions on the eye can be harsh. What environment does your hardened frame allow you to explore? The struggle can feel hopeless. What appetite, desire, or ambition drives you to push through difficult challenges to attain or acquire? Huh. I think for at least one of these it will be easier to decide the reward and then figure out how I'm going to get it. The reward examples are like food and drink, physical resource, currency for barter or trade. How does this cryptocurrency or local script make you feel more secure? Cool. I mean, I'm a big fan in the games, in Citizen Sleeper, of just doing labor. I spent a lot of time doing that. I think the two of Endure. Something about ships. It's shocking, I know. It's like stripping the interiors of a ship. The image I was having is like, ooh, yeah, I was thinking of like stripping fabric off of like built-in chairs and furniture. Just my webcam a tiny bit. And I think the reason is like these are like ships that have already had all their useful parts taken out, and they're going to be just like, this is like just maybe even just rooms of ships that have been taken out. All of the computer parts, all of the little mechanical parts, anything that can be used has been taken, and they just want to be melted down. But they can't put fabric in the incinerator. And so I'm gonna go in and take anything flammable, take anything that won't just melt out of these scrapped ships. Yeah, and I think I was gonna say just money, currency, cryo, but I wonder if it's fun to like no, maybe I'll just have that on my mind. I was thinking of like having the fabric turned into something like a disguise, new clothes, something like that. But I think it's just gonna be cryo. Not a lot of it. Oh, cryo, and I get to keep the fabric. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah. Does the number... Yeah, I'm just gonna say, rather than trying to come up with a specific number at this point, I'm just gonna say 2 worth of cryo and salvageable fabric. I know you can't supersede the sticky note, but that's okay. It's mostly for me. Now, the middle one is the King of Intuit. So that's high. Intuit. The eye is rich with communities and social structures, farming unions, workers' collectives, sports clubs, gambling dens. Which of them are you trying to become part of? Bartenders to babysitters and couriers and chefs, the gig economy of the eye is varied and complex. Which are you intuitively drawn to? The eye is a labyrinthian urban sprawl, one that takes intuition to explore. What part of it, from markets to housing blocks to docks and derelicts, are you trying to map and understand? Oh, that last one is really fun. the thing that came to mind was like, I mean, it says markets. The idea that I'm not sort of combining the idea that like I'm trying to map it with the thing that it says, the very first suggestion that it has, which is the thing about like communities and social structures. The idea that I'm trying to understand the social politics of whose booth in the market is where. I'm both trying to figure out like where people are, but then I think part of it is that like I realize that they move in ways that I wouldn't have expected, and it's not like regular, it's not like every Monday or every day or like every month or something, and it doesn't appear to be about like renting a more expensive booth necessarily. There seems to be some sort of politicking that goes into who ends up where, and I want to figure out what. I want to map it and understand the movements. Yeah. Understand the physical movements. Ooh, the physical and social movements of the market booths. Rewards. Suggested rewards. You gain an advantage or favor with an institution. You hear a story or rumor of great value. You find a secret place of value. I think the thing that I'm angling for here is that I want to understand this so well that I become a trusted consultant? Like, I can predict certain things, like availability of products and where people will be. And I want people to like what is it? Is it the thing I'm thinking is I'm trying to decide basically, do I want people within the market system to come and talk to me to try and find ways to leverage whatever it is they're looking for, getting the spot that they want, or do I want it for like, the first thing I was thinking was people outside of the market, just like consumers or whatever. But yeah, it's probably more interesting for it to be like, I want people in the market to trust me. I want vendors to trust me. Or maybe not necessarily I want vendors to trust me, but the end goal of this is that if I succeed, vendors will trust me to help them like leverage whatever they have to get to a better place. Yeah. Okay, and one more. This is the 10 of endurance. So another like physical thing. I think looking at the card, also like each card has little like thematic elements on it, and the 10 of endurance has peace and isolation. And so I'm thinking of the suggested drive that was about my frame being able to handle harsh conditions. And so this is a spacewalk, I think. Isolation and peace. Doing something in a spacewalk. What is it? I don't think it's repair, because I don't think that I'm like an expert in anything. I don't think that I'm like spacewalking to fix a satellite. I think that I'm clearing the way for experts to fix things. And it's like I'm doing basically trash pickup, spacewalk trash pickup. And yeah, that's my job. Pardon me for checking my phone. All right. Yeah, I'm doing spacewalks to pick up space junk. And I think I have to breathe. I think. Unclear. In any case, whatever it is, like, I think the thing that makes me particularly able to do this is, like, I still have to wear a spacesuit, but I don't need it to be, like, insulated. It's my ability to withstand the extreme temperatures that makes me better at this. It's really expensive and hard to make suits that both give people air and allow them to, like, stay warm, and I just don't need to do that. I can handle the cold of the vacuum of space, I guess. And what is the reward? This is a 10, so that's pretty high. 10 could be a ship mind. Endure food or drink, physical resource, currency. I think it's going to be I keep pushing against this internally because I worry that it's too similar to the other one, but I think it just makes sense. Part of it is like I get to keep what I find, and that's going to be very valuable. I think particularly the thing is, like, because I'm doing this work technically off of the eye, like I'm in space, I don't need to, like, normally I would be having to turn this in to the person who's doing the job, or like giving somebody a cut and that kind of thing. And because I'm off of the eye, it's just a little bit different. I'm in space, and there's just a lot fewer, like, regulations in my contract and that kind of thing. And it's going to be something expensive. I don't know what yet, but I'm just going to write 10 worth of I keep what I find. I'm assuming that I'm not, like, missing the point of these drives necessarily. Like, they could be something that I'm actively on purpose working towards, but I assume that I'm not, like, circumventing what they're meant for by keeping it a little bit vague. I hope that's fine, and if I feel like I'm faltering in it, then I will, like, make them a little bit more specific. At this point, I just, like, I know so little about my character and what's going on in the world that it's hard for me to be specific, so I'm gonna, like, slowly narrow in and go down the funnel. Alright, what else? What's next? Once you have established the initial drive for each of your 3 threads, setup is almost complete. Take a moment to consider your sleeper and their starting situation on the eye. Review the face-up cards in the play space and think about the following questions. If you don't have a clear answer, consider them as fuel for your character's origins. Make note of your answers, your initial drives, and any subsequent drives in each thread. If you want to play Cycles of the Eye, a journaling game, check out the advice in the next section. Okay. You have freed yourself from a harsh life, extracting resources in the barren void of space. Ooh. I mean, that is kind of what I'm doing, isn't it? Yeah. What memory from your time as a sleeper will never leave you? I think, like, part of this is I'm very struck by having given myself a drive that is, like, exactly like the thing was then, like, told, oh yeah, you just freed yourself from doing this, the spacewalk one. And so I think the thing about it is the memory that I won't forget is, like, yeah, it sucked, there's a reason I left, but I'll never forget the peace of being alone in space. It's scary, it's dangerous, but my environment was, like, crowded and loud, and I'm always being told what to do and pushed around a little. Or at least there's the heavy implication of it. And the first time I went out into space alone on a spacewalk type thing, it was peaceful, and there was a power in it. The bitter power of knowing that I was sent out here because it's too dangerous for the people who have power over me. Being able to have that little feeling in the back of my mind of, like, you can threaten me all you want, I know you're not coming out here. I am gonna come back in at some point, so I should be careful. But when it comes down to it, I'm out there, I'm out here, and you're in there. Frozen. Scooby-Doo YouTube poop, etc., etc. And yeah, the very first time I stepped out, was just big, and I think probably is ultimately the reason why I even escaped, right? Because it's like if I'm having that, like, well, I'm gonna have to go back in, then eventually I have the, like, well, but what if I don't do that part? Yeah, I'm just gonna take a quick note. The ring of the eye rises up above you, glittering with lights and life. What is the first detail or impression that catches you? I assume this is like as I'm arriving? It's the lack of uniformity. It's the fact that like different sections look different because they are neighborhoods or whatever with their own individual characteristics rather than everything being either very strictly maintained or everyone there just being kind of too exhausted and disillusioned to make things their own. Like, I don't think that things are like beautifully, intentionally and intensely decorated, but places have character because they're allowed to and they want to, and I could tell that even just coming in. I can see that in the different sections. This book. You have escaped, but it isn't long before the adrenaline fades and the anxiety sets in. What is your first priority now that you are out? Deep in thought because it feels too simple to say freedom, but kind of, right? Yeah, I think, I don't know, I want to be... I want to be allowed to create a life. I want to not feel that direct pressure of hierarchy as much as possible. I want to be my own boss. I think that's what I'm gonna say as a short form, because I think that that is like both literally true in the like I don't want to work for, I want to be in control of the jobs that I take and the things that I do, and also, yeah, I want to be the driver of my own life. Markets, bars, shipyards, docks, apartment blocks, factories. The eye is like an entire city laid end to end on a looping ring. Where do you go at the end of each cycle to rest? In the game, you arrive in a shipping container. and you like hang out in there, right? This is a place that is like Erland's Eye is characterized as like accepting refugees, like as that being part of its identity. So I like to assume that means there is a place for people to go if they don't have anywhere to go. At least temporarily. I'm trying to decide if I want there to be tension there. Like, do I want there to be strict rules and then I'm pushing against that because I want to be in control of my own life? Or do I want that to actually be a place of respite / like, do I want that to be something that I build towards? I think yeah, there's a place. There's a place that I can stay. But I do find some of the restrictions frustrating and want to get my own place, but that is in the works. All right. This section is about the idea of creating logs if you're playing as like explicitly as a journaling game. Look at how cute this spread is with the cat. Condensation on a page. Okay. In this section, we'll go over how you play the game, procedures you'll follow, and how you'll interact with cards and dice. Cycles are full rotations of the station, analogous to our days. At the end of a cycle, your sleeper must rest and recover. During each cycle, you'll interpret the meaning of cards, encounter characters, and decide how best to use your energy dice. Cycle by cycle, your sleeper will overcome challenges, make allies and adversaries, and struggle to survive against the pressure of your body's planned obsolescence. The game ends typically after you've locked in at least 4 characters in the form of major arcana cards. This represents the unique story surrounding your sleeper. In a cycle, you roll energy dice, did that. Overcome challenges with energy dice and or resources, gotta do that. Fulfill drives by overcoming challenges to make progress on threads and encounter new characters. End the cycle, including decrementing? Decrementing? Decrementing cycle by going character if required. There's a diagram in the game layout. And a quick reference. Once you know how to play the game, the reference should help. Yeah. First, roll the energy dice. We did that. If you roll the 1, the die is exhausted. Put it to the side. You can't use it till you replenish your energy. Okay. Oh, you can only lose 1 dice per cycle that way. That's good. You can regain exhausted energy dice by spending resources equal to 10 or more. If your final die is exhausted, your sleeper's body ceases to function. You must make an urgent intervention in order to survive. When this happens, you'll need to make a choice. Either your sleeper dies or you burn a relationship with a character to acquire critical vial of stabilizer and replenish all energy. Brutal. The fortune die represents fate working in your favor. It builds up over time if things don't go to plan, provides your sleeper a small boost. Increment the fortune die by 1 when you exhaust a die, and additionally for each unexhausted energy die you don't use by the end of a cycle. When the fortune die reaches 6, you can spend it as if it were an energy die of 6. That's fun. What a good way of, like, building in the, not quite a fail forward, but a little bit. The push and pull of failing narratively feels better if it is helping you go towards success. You know, belonging outside belonging, doing weak moves to get tokens to spend on strong moves, that kind of thing. Something I'm a big fan of. So I think that is just a really great mechanization of narrative structure, challenges and failures leading to future success. Not always that like one-to-one in real life, unfortunately, but it's great to see in stories. Spend energy dice to complete challenges. The value on a challenge card determines the requirement for completing that challenge. Face cards and aces require at least 10. Put spent energy dice in the space above your draw deck. They can't be used again until after the cycle. Cool. Resources can also be spent to beat challenges. So I have in my challenges the page of interface. So I believe that's a 10 page. Like a face card would be a 10. Yeah. So I need to spend at least 10 energy on that, or 10 resources. Got the page of interface with just 10. I have the 3 of denial, great, and I have the 5 of intuit. So I actually could beat all of my first challenges this first day because of how good my roll was. Again, I've got 2 4, the 5, and 2 6s, which could be cool. We'll see. Challenges cannot be partially completed over multiple cycles. They have to be done using whatever dice and resources are available to you in a single cycle. If you pay more than the sum required for a challenge, the excess energy is simply lost. The overspend can't be used to complete another challenge. Oh, a roll of 6 can be used to complete any challenge, even a 10 value one. Cool, so I wouldn't even have to use a 6 and a 4 to beat the page. I can just use a 6. Awesome. When you complete a challenge, place it face up to the left of the draw deck in a discard pile. Flip over the next card in the challenge deck to reveal the next obstacle. If you complete a challenge and no cards remain beneath it, it means you have fulfilled the drive directly above it. If the card is a minor arcana, gain the drive card as a resource. If the card is a major arcana, check out how to deal with characters. We'll get there. You don't need to actively interpret the prompts on the challenge cards mid-cycle like you would for drive. Instead, at the end of the cycle, look back and reflect on the completed challenges. Cool. We'll get to new drives, threads, resources. Cool, cool, cool. Once per cycle, you can hack to overcome a tough challenge. Ooh. Look at that in the future. Characters. Look at that when we encounter a character. Okay, I think I'm gonna start this first cycle officially. Just gonna check the other book, the lookup book, for the reference. I just want to check, because this roll is so crazy good. I think, oh, well, when I complete a challenge, I'll just get the one underneath it, right? Yeah, alright, let's see. And I don't need to, like, narrate each of these, but just gonna think it through a little bit. Definitely gonna spend one of these 6s on getting the page of interface out of the way, which is in the one of the challenges for the drive of removing fabric from shifts. The page of interface, the themes on it are excitement and haste, and I think like one of the things here is that like I pulled it reversed, so do I want to fuck with that? Whatever. I'm pumped. I think that this is a job that I negotiated for myself. They were just going to pay me, and I asked if I could keep the fabric. And they were like, yeah, sure, whatever. But to me, that's huge. I just like, that's what the first time I've ever been able to negotiate. And so that's a big deal for me when it comes to being my own boss, you know? Just want to make sure that I'm putting this in the right place. Yes. And we'll flip over the next challenge there, which is the 4 of engineer. Cool. I think I'm just going to do that right away. I'm going to spend one of my 4s and complete that drive. Yeah. Let's see. Completing challenge. Gain the drive card as a resource. Move it to the right of the play area. Yeah. I'm gonna put my sticky note on it. And then start my little resources pile. So I did it. I stripped all the fabric from a ship. Pretty good. Now, I'm revealing my other next drive, which is the 9 of interface, themes of nightmares and release. And I have to immediately put new challenge cards behind it, and a 9 below it rather, and 9 gets 3. 1, 2, 3, flip. Okay, 3 of Intuit. Cool. I'm gonna spend one of my 5s, or I'm gonna spend my 5 in my energy. Ooh, am I? Yes. I'm gonna spend my... Wait, it's a 10, not a 5. Numbers! No, that's... X is 10, right? Yeah. Right? Yes. X is 10, V is 5. I think, let me, oh god. searching Roman numerals. Five is V. Yes. Okay, great. I'm gonna spend my 5 on the 5 of Intuit, which is the challenge in my spacewalk. So, you know, I finish stripping the fabric from this ship, and I imagine that I got roped into this spacewalk thing because this is somebody who knows what I am. Probably. There might even be a little bit of an element of like, do this for me or I might let people know. Which we'll figure out as we go on, like, if that's a real threat or if it's just sort of like bad communication from a desperate person. But yeah. The themes of the challenge card I just resolved are loss and departure, which, yeah, absolutely there is. I think especially since I'm walking away so excited from the fabric stripping job that I negotiated for, this return to a thing that I even enjoy doing. I think that's one of the things that's so interesting and complicated about it, is that I really do like going out into space. It feels good. It's fun. It's quiet. But the fact that it is something that I am told to do, that I have been told to do, and that I am in this case doing to protect myself, it seems, is a loss. It's frustrating. And for departure, easy. I'm departing the ground to go into space. I also need to define the new drive that I flipped. Flip a new challenge. Great, great, great. Let's see. I think I'm just going to define it when I go to... No, I should do it now. I should do it now. So it's the 9 of interface. Interface. Oh! I see. Okay, the reversal is built into the themes of the cards. Cool. So it isn't 2 themes, it is a theme depending, basically, on whether it's upright or reversed. That's wonderful. Anyway, interface. Working with digital systems. Drive suggestions. The networks of the eye are old and ingrown, but can be bent to your will. What part of a bigger system, from surveillance and security to data collection and communications, do you set out to take control of? On the eye, survival is granted by technology. What system do you make it your goal to improve? Data is a currency on the eye. Who wishes you to acquire it and for what end? Yeah, that... I think... Oh wait, this should be tied to the fabric one specifically. Right? Because these are all sort of like threads, and this is the challenge that was, or the drive that was under the fabric stripping drive. Okay. So I think the thing here is that while I was in one of these ships, I found like computer parts that hadn't been taken out, and I pulled them out to be like, hey, like this won't melt down properly, or like maybe this got missed, and whoever hired me was like, oh, it's probably left in for a reason, don't worry about it. and I want to find a way to figure out what is on that drive. Is that big enough? This is a 9. Yeah, I think that's okay. I think part of it is going to be that it is an old computer, that it's like finding a floppy disk right now. Like, I would have to like do some searching to figure out how to even look on this floppy disk, and it's like, maybe it's curious to me because of like all the fabric. All the furniture in here is so new. Why was this old computer, this old form of data storage in this ship? Just intriguing to me. Yeah. Figure out how to read the floppy disk I found. Is what I've written. Ooh, maybe it's even that it was like, yeah, it was sewn into like a mattress or something, and so I didn't even like give it to somebody. I'm like, oh, this was being hidden. I'm gonna find out why. The reward. I mean, the reward is probably going to be the data that's on it. I think that makes sense. I still have a 4 and a 6 to spend. Either way, I will be overspending, but that's fine. What do I want to do? Do I want to... Oh, the challenge that I have on the next challenge on the spacewalk is a 4. So I will spend my 4 on that. Makes sense. I'm just doing some spacewalking today. Ooh, and the next challenge on the spacewalk drive is the King of Endure. The upright theme for that is guidance. That is the last challenge on that, so I'm absolutely going to spend this 6, which is my last energy die today, on resolving that. And that means I complete this drive. So I get... Yeah, this is a very productive day. I have a bunch of fabric, and I have a bunch of space junk. Doing great. Let's define this next drive. Let's see. It is the page of engineer. How many challenge cards does a page get again? 4. So let's set up this drive. Engineer. Working with machines and physical tools. Yep. Some suggested drives. The demand for engineers never falters on the eye. What local project building homes, shops, or even ships do you get work on? The Eye's citizens struggle constantly against the entropy of their machines. What odd jobs do you undertake? Docks at the rim of the Eye, each of them regularly visited by spacers and their aging ships, massive freighters, zippy cutters, or ponderous barges. Which are you paid to repair? I think... So this is related to the, like, space debris salvaging that I was doing. I'm still not repairing. I still think that that's not something I'm, like, trained in. But I think what it is cleaning. So part of what I was doing was, like, clearing the path for people to be able to, like, get out more safely to this, whatever this little satellite or floating thing is. And they're, like, noticing interference that isn't just from the space debris, now that it's been mostly, like, cleared out around it. And so they're going to ask me to go and, like, scrub a bunch of sensors and stuff. And, like, it is delicate and has specialized tools because, like, you could scrape a sensor or you could put too harsh of a chemical on it or whatever. But it's grunt work still, so that's what I'm gonna go do. Clean the sensors on a comm set. And I think for this one, just straight up money, right? That makes sense. Fidgeting with this webcam a lot because the angle is driving me crazy. Cool. Okay. Well, that was my day. That was my whole day. Very, very productive day. Fulfill drives, make progress, end the cycle. Just gonna glance over the rules again to make sure I know what I'm doing there. I think that's it. I haven't met any characters yet, so just gonna head home with all my stuff and get some sleep. Ooh, I think one detail is that I'm allowed to bring all my stuff to, like, the place that I'm staying, but there isn't room to keep it, like, in my room or near my bed. I have a storage locker, and I'm allowed to keep as much as I want there, but it can't just be with me, and that's, like, really annoying. I want to be able to look. I want to be able to look at my stuff and have all my stuff. All right. Rolled a 3, 2 4s, a 5, and a 1. Makes sense. Maybe pushed a little hard yesterday, buddy. So that just gets put to the side. Can't use that till I replenish my energy. Yep. got a lot of resources actually, so I might be able to just do that right off. Yeah, I know exactly what this is actually. So, one of the drives that I resolved yesterday, the spacewalk one, that is a 10. So that's 10 worth, so I can just spend that card straight up to get this, put this bike die back in the pool for tomorrow. I said that the reason I got hired for that was because this person knows what I am. And I think this is sort of like coming up to the job site the next day. This is the first indication that maybe this person, like, as I sort of talked about earlier, didn't want to threaten me, is just desperate because I walk up and they have stabilizer that they give me. And where do I put a drive that I... Oh, I assume it just goes in the discard pile. Yep. Great. So I do still only have the 4 energy dice today. But tomorrow I will roll 5 at least, who knows. So let's see where we're at. I have 2 3s in front of me. The challenge on my figuring out the data and the challenge on the understanding the social structures of the market are both 3s. I think the one I'm drawn to first, especially since I think narratively it makes sense that this would, like, it hasn't come up, the market thing, yet. So I think the way that I'm thinking of that is that this isn't necessarily something that my character is, like, consciously aware of wanting yet, or doesn't want yet, because it hasn't come up in the narrative. But I think this makes sense as a way to lead there. So I'm going to spend the 3 to do the challenge on figuring out the data. The theme for that card is collaboration, which is great. So I think that indicates, like, starting to find somebody. I know that I don't have to interpret the challenge cards, but it's fun. So I've got 2 4s and a 5 left, and I just flipped a 6. I have a 6, a 3, and a 5. I'm going to spend my 5 on the 5, which is a challenge card in the cleaning the sensors thing. So I'm back out in space, scrubbing a satellite carefully. God, I bet it's so annoying. I bet that, like, I'm having to manually mix, like how do you have to keep something liquid in space? There's, like, antifreeze, and I'm having to, like, manually mix these chemicals up there, because I bet the temperature changes as the satellite, like, different parts of the satellite are different temperatures, and so I have to mix different amounts, and it's a pain. It's so annoying, but I'm doing it. And I just flipped an 8, so in front of me I have a 6, a 3, and an 8, and I have 2 4s. That worked out so beautifully. I'm going to stay up in space, and I'm going to spend my 2 4s to resolve that 8. And that's my day. Alright. go home, get some rest. Hey, no ones today. I rolled 2 2s, a 3, a 4, and a 6. Well, that's exciting. The challenges I have are a 6, a 3, and a queen. So I'm going to spend a 4 and a 2 to resolve the 6, which is a challenge in the figuring out what the data is. The theme of that is regret. Interesting. Yeah, I think that this is just more like maybe I had to, I have to hand the floppy disk over to somebody, and I don't like that I kind of gave up agency in that way, you know? I wish it was still in my hands. And the next challenge that I flipped was a 10. I was going to spend this 6 on the queen, but if I resolve that 10, then I complete that challenge. Or sorry, that drive. So I'm going to do that. Spend my 6, resolve that 10. Oh my goodness. What is the data? I think what this is that, like, I handed this floppy disk over to somebody. They come back to me. They're like, figured it out, we're all good. And I'm like, what was on it? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I can't read it. I just figured out how to actually access the information. And it is just like a stupid amount of files. And I'm actually going to look at my next drive to see what the problem is. Injure. So something physical. Or strength of will. Huh. Strength or strength of will. I don't think it's that the files are encrypted. It's just that, like, the thing I'm imagining is just a bunch of spreadsheets that don't have, like, labeled columns. So it's like, yeah, there are numbers here and names and stuff even, but there's no context for it. And I'm trying to figure out what's strength of will. While I'm doing that, just dealing 3 challenge cards, because it's a 6 the next drive. Ooh. One of the files that I manage that I can understand. The reason I understand it is that it, like, is very recognizable as, like, essentially like longitude and latitude, right? Coordinates of some kind. And I wanted to point towards a location on the eye. Yeah, I open a file that just like seems to be a list of addresses. And I'm gonna visit every single one. And like see what they have in common. Or if something's like hidden there or what. Yeah. Work would be keep going back to this, but I think it really is just what I find. And I'm hoping that I will have a reason to like there's something that is hidden in these locations. And I want to find out what that is and define what it is. Yeah, alright. I have a 2 and a 3 in front of me on my dice. I have a challenge that's a 4, a challenge that's a 3, and a challenge that's a 10. I think what I'm going to do is I can spend one of my unused energy die to up my fate die, right? Or my fortune die, whatever it's called. I'll double check. Yeah, cool. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna spend my 3 of my energy die on, I think this is my first challenge from the market drive, which is so perfect because, like, I was in here, like, briefly, like, trying to find people. Whoever my contact was who helped me find something that could read a floppy disk, I found in the market. And I go to talk to them, and they're in a different location. And I'm like, why are you somewhere else? And I learn that people move, and I get the vibe that something's weird about it. That a lot of it is like unspoken rules and that kind of thing. But I also have to cut through here to, like, you know, yeah, get to one of the addresses or whatever. Anyway, it's tied to what I was just doing. It all makes sense. But this is like my first, like, this is complicated for like weird social and political reasons. And this last energy die, I'm just going to use to up my fortune die to a 2. Go home, get some rest. I'm gonna take a quick bio break, and then we'll have a new day. Be right back. A new day. Did roll a 1, so we'll put that aside. But other than that, not a bad roll. 3 4s and a 5. What have I got going on? The challenges in front of me are a 4, an 8, and a 10. The 4 is in the visiting every address that I found in the on the floppy disk drive. So I'm just gonna do that. This is like the structure of my day right now is a lot. It's a lot of walking. This is a long list of addresses, and it's like, yeah, it is just walking through the city whenever I get the chance, trying to find these streets and these addresses. And I'm going to spend 2 of my 4s on the 8 challenge in the understanding the social movements of the marketplace one. It's so abstract. Which I think is like, again, kind of combined. Like, I find myself cutting through the market a lot, and I'm like listening to gossip and starting to like pick up on patterns maybe, or think that I might be. And my last die left is a 5, and I think I'm just gonna spend that to put my fortune die up, and I'm gonna go to bed. For resources right now, I have a 9 and a 2. So I could like overspend to get that energy die back, but I think I don't want to. I might regret that in the future, but that's okay. I just want to double check that all challenge cards get discarded. I believe they do. Oh yeah, I mean it's still minor arcana. It's just that it has a person on it, so I thought it wasn't. Okay. Next day. Rolling my 4 dice. Oof. I rolled 2 1s. Only one of them can be exhausted, but still. That means I've got 3 energy dice for today. They are a 1 and 2 2s. That's nasty. Okay. The challenges in front of me are a 3, a 9, and a queen. So, I'm going to spend a 2 and a 1 to do the 3, which is in the visiting every address drive. I'm going to spend my 3rd energy die to put my fortune die up to a 4. And I think I am going to spend the 9 and the 2 of the resources to get an energy die back, because rolling 3 is pretty brutal. And what does that mean? What were those drives? Salvageable fabric and the data. I know they don't have to be literal, but interestingly, those were both from the same thread. So I think what this means is that somebody else is interested in this. And I think they notice that I'm visiting all these addresses. And they're like, what do you know? I'm trying to play it cool, and they're suspicious of me. And I think finally I'm like, okay, fine. I found these on a ship, and I'm going to sell them the fabric and the floppy disk that I found on the ship. But I think it's already been, like, the data's been transferred off of it, and it's empty. Who knows if they'll be able to recover something off of it, maybe. But yeah, this, I was hoping to save that so that I could, like, look into it more, and I wanted this fabric to, I was going to give it to somebody to pay them to make me new clothes, but the easiest way to get this person off my back is to pretend that I am opportunistically, like, I don't know anything. Yeah, whatever, I'll sell this to you. This is what where I found it, kind of thing, and hope that makes them less suspicious of me. And I get one of my energy dice back. Alright. Next day, rolling my 4 energy dice. Nice. 2, 4, 5, 6. Much better. Little boost post-stabilizer every time. Oh! Right, and I should be putting the fortune die up by 1 whenever I exhaust an energy die, which I think has happened 3 times? And I forgot. So I'm gonna be so nice to myself. I'd already gotten it up to 4. 2 of those will put it up to 6. I'm going to spend that 6 to resolve which one? I'm gonna resolve the queen on the cleaning the sensors. And then I assume it resets to 1, the fortune die. Reset it to 1, and then I'm gonna put it back up to 2 because I've exhausted 3 energy dice. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So, the challenges in front of me are a 10, a 9, and a 5. I have a 2, a 4, a 5, and a 6. I'm going to spend my 6 on my energy die to resolve that 10, which is the walking around all of the addresses challenge. So what do I find? I was leaning food, like there are food stashes, but the fact that it's hidden at a bunch of different places makes me think it's something that has to be combined, and so I was like, is it explosives? But it could still be food, and it's like, yeah, maybe it is. I don't know. I like the idea that it's just a bunch of really, really old, like essentially MREs, like military rations. And they're so old. And I don't really know why no one has found them yet. It's weird. Oh my god, my next drive is not Major Arcana. The Knight of Endure. Okay. Put 4 there. I think what this is it's going to be essentially the same thing again, but like looking at the packaging on the like rations, I'm able to start to like understand some of the data that I was given more, because I can like analyze, like maybe there are some short forms that I start to be able to like piece together, and this is like there's another list of addresses and I'm like, I don't think this is food. I think this is some other type of stash that this mystery group has left all over. I'm gonna keep looking for it. Yeah. And the reward is just gonna be, yeah, whatever this stash is. We'll see. Challenges: a 4, a 9, and a 5. think I'm going to spend my 5 energy die on resolving the 5, which is the final challenge in the cleaning the sensors drive. So I finish that up and get paid for it. The next drive is, in that thread, is the 6 of Intuit, which gets 3 challenges. What's that gonna be? What is that to do with this satellite in space that has to do with approaching problems with awareness? The first suggested drive has the question of like, what community are you trying to be a part of? Union, workers' collective, sports clubs, gambling dens. Maybe I'm trying to befriend the people who work on this satellite. But like, ooh, yeah. Okay, yeah. And the reward for that, I think, came to me of like, they can train me to fix it. This whole time I was like, I haven't been trained in like this kind of mechanical repair. They can train me how to do that. So I'm just trying to it's not quite prove myself to the satellite team as like figure out the niche that I need to fill, figure out how to sell myself to them, to like convince them that I'm indispensable. What I wrote was convince the satellite team that I'm the missing link, with a reward of 6 worth of training. The challenge I flipped for that is a 9, so I've got 2 9s and a 4. I can spend my energy die that is a 4 to resolve that 4, which is in the the new list of stash addresses. That makes sense. Ace. Is an ace a 1 or a 2? face cards and aces require 10. Sorry. I really couldn't find that rule. Okay, well, then in that case, I will just essentially spend that last energy die, which was a 2, to make my fortune die a 3. Do I want to immediately spend a resource to get back up to 5 energy? I think I do. Pretty straightforward. I got the cryo, the payout from cleaning the sensor, which is perfect because not only does that mean I have the money for it, but I just have to go over to the person who hired me and be like, hey, hook me up with some stabilizer. So now I've got 5 energy dice again, and I'm gonna roll them. Immediately rolled a 1, so exhausted that, and I'm remembering to tick my fortune die up to 4 because of that. Other than that, I rolled a 3, a 5, and 2 6s, which is actually great. The challenges in front of me are an ace, which is a 10, and 2 9s, so high values. I'm going to spend a 6 on the ace, which is in the walking around looking for stashes drive. The card that I flipped is page, so another 10. Got 10 and 2 9s. I'm gonna spend this 6, my other 6 that I rolled, to resolve the 9 challenge on the training montage. Rough. Okay, I've got a 5 and a 3 left, but the values in front of me for the challenges are a page, a 9, and a queen. So I can't use any of those. What I can do is spend those leftover energy die to turn my fortune die into a 6 and immediately resolve one of them, which is going to be the queen in my training drive. Turn my fortune die back down to 1 and go to bed. Next day, roll my 4 energy die. I rolled a 3, 2 4s, and a 6. I'm going to immediately use the 6 to resolve the knight interface, which is my training. And yeah, that one, I mean, we know exactly. I actually had a pretty solid reward picked out for that, so I get trained on how to do at least minor repairs. Let's see what my next thing there is. Not a single major arcana yet. I did remember to put them in, right? I assume I did. Yeah. Counting my leftover major arcana cards to make sure they weren't all there. Sometimes this is what happens. Ooh. Got the 7 of interface, which I think I'm gonna keep going on the training thing, actually. And this is about, like, we hit a limit on the types of repairs I can do without understanding some of the computer systems or controls or something. And so they're gonna like teach me how to use some the controls of some fiddly machinery or something. And 7 gets 3 challenge cards. I would like to meet a character before we wrap up. I'm going for 2 hours and 20 minutes. Let's do this. Let's find somebody. And I want to. Oh my god! I don't even know who the adversary dealt was. Let's keep going. Got 2 4s and a 3. Oof. My challenges are 2 10s and a 9. I'm gonna spend 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm gonna spend 3 energy dice in total, 11, to resolve the page on the walking around one, cause I'm closer. I'm close on that. Do I want to spend a resource to get an energy die back? No, I think I'm okay. Head home to rest. Next day. Rolled a 2, 2 5s, and a 6. Hell yeah. I'm gonna spend my 2 5s on the page in the training drive. Spend a little bit of time learning how the satellite communicator system works. I'm gonna spend my 6 to resolve the 9 on the like understanding the social rules of the market one. And then I've got a 2 left. I can't really do anything with that, so spend it to put my fortune die up 1 more. And surely today I will resolve one of these drives. Oof, rolled a 1, so exhaust that die, put my fortune die up to a 3. I have a 3, a 5, and a 6. Can I spend energy die on an exhausting die? Just resources. Okay. That makes sense because it's the energy die are about like effort and time. Well, I'm going to spend the 6 that I rolled to complete the drive of understanding the social movement of the market booths. That's so funny. I don't have a solid answer to what that is, but I will keep thinking about it. But what it means is I'd defined that reward of like, vendors trust me to help them, like, no, it's probably about like, I'm like, on Thursdays you should put in your application before 8, but if it's on Tuesdays you should do it after 9, because I'm starting to understand like the patterns of different, like whoever the like market foreman is basically, like different ways that they process, for different timelines that they process applications on, and like who you should talk to, who you shouldn't cross, who you should let have the docking bay even if you're in a hurry because they can put a bad word in, that kind of thing. And a bunch of the like especially lower level vendors are starting to see that like I really have a grasp of that, which I think really is in part because like I've been walking the fuck around so much while looking for all of these hidden stashes. Yeah. And I'm immediately gonna cash that drive in because it's a king to get a stabilizer and get an energy buy back tomorrow. Which, that makes total sense, right? Like, I'm talking to a bunch of, like, vendors and stuff, and I think even what this is like, it isn't one of the low-level vendors, it's one of the people where I'm like, hey, you should always if this guy has a stall, he will get in your way, just let him do his business, and, like, get out of the loading bay. It doesn't matter if you're in a hurry, it will be more annoying if you delay him. Ultimately, you will be later. Just let him do his thing. And he notices. And palms me some stabilizers as a thank you. Because he's like, that's great. It's all I ever wanted. I'm just be so inconvenient that people just let me go first, and you're helping to put the pieces together for them. Thank you. Yeah. Let's see what the next drive in that one is. Night, so it gets 4 challenges. It's interface. So how does this connect? This is going to be about being trusted by more than just that lower tier who's already bought in. Especially because that, like, the guy who gave me the stabilizer, took notice of me, and he's like the tier above, you know? And so this is going to be about, like, gaining the trust of the mid-tier vendors. And I think this is like, I have to develop what I gave to the lower tier vendors was like stuff that was able to be picked up out of like habits, you know, the thing like Thursdays before 8, Tuesdays after 9, whatever. This, I think, is about like, this is getting into more of the social politicking, and the like the longer games that people play. Yeah, it's get a better grasp of the long game. Cool. Okay, got a 5 and a 3 on my energy dice. The challenges are a 7, a 5, and an 8. Well, that's perfect. Spend the 5 and the 3 on the 8, which is in the training the satellite systems drive, which is perfect. Finish up my day. Next day. Rolled 2 1s. Exhaust one of them. Put my fortune die up to a 4. I have a 1, a 4, and a 6. My challenges are a 7, a 5, and another 7. Okay. Well, I'll spend my 6. Ooh. I have 2 drives that I could finish. One is the satellite training, and the other is the new list of stashes. That one is a 10, so I'm going to spend my 6 to do that final challenge. I go to all of those addresses. Here's a twist, because I'm immediately going to spend that drive to take one of my energy dice back. I find stabilizer. Most of these stashes were empty, which has been really frustrating, with no real evidence of what they are. But then I find one. I find some that are smashed, I think. Yeah. What was the themes are, the themes of the last challenge are frustration and harvest. I don't remember if it was up or down. I think frustration. So yeah, I think that's what it is. I find stashes that have been just degraded by the environment too much, or the building around them has collapsed or something happened, but they look like stabilizer vials, and I'm like, what? Okay, and I push myself to keep going, and then I find one that still, it only has one actual vial in it that I can use, but it's there. And so now I'm like, was this a sleeper that hid all these stashes around here? What the fuck? And I got my first character card! Yay! I just flipped. The next drive is it Eshe? Esh? Ishi? Ishi. The tower. Let's flip to... Oh, let's first give 4 challenges. There. And let's look at encountering and resolving characters. When a character is flipped to become a drive, it means your sleeper has an encounter with them. Roll a cycle die and place it on this character. If you roll a 1, re-roll until you get a different result. This die decrements by 1 at the end of every cycle. Look at their entry in the lookup book. Find their prompt, read it, and integrate them into the story you have been telling in the thread that they appeared. Okay. Oh, shit. Okay. So. Oh, this is so much pressure. Awesome. So I'm going to roll a d6 and put it on this character. Every cycle, I have to put that die down 1, and I have to resolve all of the challenges underneath them before that die completes. So there is a bunch of time pressure here. If I manage to do all of the challenges before that die counts down, we have a positive relationship. If it reaches 0 before I finish the challenges, we do not develop a positive relationship. So, let's find this person in the lookup book. Ishi, she, her. Headstrong escapee from the ex-corporate XPR colony. Ishi hates authority. When the refugees she travels with are quarantined by Havenage, she's desperate to free them. Encounter prompt. You find Ishi near the cordon. As someone who'd understand the injustices faced by the refugees, she demands you help break the quarantine. What action does she propose? Cool, okay. Rolling my d6, I got a 4. Her first challenge is an ace, which takes 10, so that's intense. I can spend resources on that, can't I? Yeah, okay. So. I think that what this initially looks like is that I'm going to the rest of the stashes. Like, I didn't finish my list when I found the stabilizer, you know, and now I'm going to. Like, I'm gonna go just make sure that there isn't just like a single vial left anywhere. And without knowing, I start to go into the quarantine where her people are. And we get to talking, and she's like, part of it is that I'm like, well, I need to get in there. And she's like, well, then we need to get my people out of quarantine. And what does she propose? I think what I'm going to say is that they're stuck in there because they can't, there's like a specific condition that they're supposed to be checked for, but they can't test for it. Because, like, someone refuses to pay for tests, or like there's limited resources on it, kind of thing. So they're like, we're just going to keep them in there for, you know, 2 months, because that's when we'd know for sure that they don't have it. And so she's like, help me prove that they don't have it. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and get tests. I'm going to try and get some of these tests. And I believe I can spend resource with an energy die, right? Because I have, let's say I have a 6 resource and a 4 energy die. I could spend those together, right? Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, I only have 4 days to help her. So, that's what I'm gonna do. What am I gonna spend? Oh, yeah. One of the drives I have, the resources I have, was the 6 worth of food that I found. So, what this is like, they're in quarantine, they're not getting enough supplies delivered. I'm gonna buy them some time while I find tests by giving them that food, which resolves the ace, because 6 plus 4 is 10. Oh my god. The next challenge is a night, so another 10. Tough. Tough challenges. The only other energy dice I have left is a 1, so I'm basically just going to spend that to make my fortune die up to 5. And dice on Ishi Eshe goes down to 3. It's the next day. I'll roll my 4 energy dice. That word and its pluralization are a nightmare for me. Alright. Rolled a 3, a 4, a 5, and a 6. That's pretty good. Definitely gonna spend my 6 resolving the next challenge for Ishi. What are my other challenges right now? Okay. I'm gonna spend my 3 to resolve the next challenge for Aishi, which is only a 2. Easy peasy. And then the last one is an ace, so I can't do that right now. I could spend a resource for it, but I'm feeling a little bit better now that I'm down to 1 and I've got 3 days, so I can do it. I have a 5 and a 4 in front of me. My challenges are, other than the character card, a 5 and a 7. I'm gonna overspend. I'm gonna spend 9 energy to do that, get that 7 out of the way, because that will resolve the training drive. Now I have 7 worth of systems training on satellite communications. God, I flipped an adversary card and it's Hunter Killer. Oh, that's fucking perfect too. This Hunter Killer is systems, so of course I ran into them while I was getting trained on this. Ooh, goosebumps. That's so fun. 9, okay. Oh my god. Adversary. The lovers. Hunter and Killer. Twin AI protocols taking the form of dog-like beasts within the network. They were activated in the collapse and now roam the data cloud, seeking to erase all rogue intelligences, you included. Encounter prompt. Something screams in the data cloud, and 2 dog-like creatures come running along the threads of connection, following your digital scent. How do you escape their hunt? Part of what this is, I think, is that, so I was getting trained on this, like, satellite thing, right? And so I think part of what it is that, like, they haven't been in the local network. They were maybe quarantined or something, like, out here, and it's connecting to, or they were just on a part of the, like, eye that I wasn't interacting with. They didn't know I was here. But I went out to this satellite to approve my training. And they know I'm here. And the way that I escape them is I just leave the satellite, but now they know I'm here. So that doesn't really mean anything. So I'm gonna roll d6. Got a 3. I'm gonna give them their 4 challenge cards. Oof. Oh my god, the time pressure is on in so many ways. If you manage to complete all of an adversary's challenge before the cycle die reaches 0, move the character card into the space above your play area and check the positive resolution prompt. However, if you fail to resolve an adversary, they will force you to abandon that thread. Well, let's hope it doesn't come to that. Okay. Okay, it's the next day. Oh, put my die on Esh down to 2. Roll my 4 energy dice. Oh god. Rolled a 1, a 5, and a 6. Luckily, discarding that energy die puts my fortune die up to 6, which is great because I could use that. Do I want to use it immediately? Yeah, I think that'd be smart. I'm gonna do that to finish the challenges for Ishii. Which means probably securing those tests. Let's see what the positive relationship with her is. Excuse me. What the positive relationship with her is you both watch as the systems maintaining the quarantine fall away. The refugees are free to make a life on the station, much to Ishii's satisfaction. What new practices and qualities do they bring to the social structure of the Eye? I'm gonna say that is yet to be seen, but like... What is it? What have we been missing? I started just thinking about like visible effects or like notable effects, and like it's so small, but like they're musicians, I think. I was imagining like stuff you can hear, like hearing laughter in the streets and everything, and then I was like, music? And so like the idea that like a bunch of these people are artists and creatives, and so like one of the things that they bring is just like, it isn't entertainment, it is like collaboration and like the spirit of like joy and creativity, which was desperately needed because that brings people together. It's good for you. Yeah, I love that. When you connect with the character, which is like the positive resolution, when you connect with the character, move their card to the space in your play area above the top of that thread. This character is a positive part of your storyline. Great. Going in the upright position. Just too small. Whoa! The last card in that thread is Bliss, Mother Major Arcana. I'm gonna double check that I didn't... I don't think that I shuffled these very well. Maybe I didn't shuffle the piles. Oh well. Who knows? I find these cards a little bit difficult to shuffle. That's fine. That's all good. Let's give Bliss the 4. Oop. Ran out of cards in my draw deck, so I'm shuffling my discards. That's so funny. Did I forget to shuffle them? It's recorded, so I will be able to check, unfortunately. All right. My goodness, everything's happening. I think I forgot to put Hunter Killer down. That's fine. Ugh, we're gonna be wrapping up soon. It's all good. Many things to keep track of all of a sudden. So let's check out Bliss, the High Priestess. A skilled but impulsive mechanic, Bliss runs a repair bay in the Eye's hub. However, its future is in the balance, with competing bays, high rents, and her abusive ex all conspiring to bring her business down. Bliss is out of options, which is why she calls you in as you pass her bay. What offer does she make that persuades you to partner in her repair business, and what repair job are you thrust in the midst of? Okay. So this is in the thread that had the, like, stripping the ships for parts for fabric. And so I think it's two things. It's that, and like I'm starting to get the reputation for running all around the city, like chasing those addresses down, right? And so she's like, I need you to, one of the things I need you to do is like run around for parts, and I need people who like know where they're going. Like you don't have to like stop and get directions. You will be able to run, get a part, and run back to me really fast. And in the meantime, she knows that like I just through whatever reputation happens on the ship, like she knows that I know my way around the ship enough from like, you know, tearing fabric out that like I can at least do like basic manual labor and that kind of thing. And I guess she's probably seen me like up and down from the satellites, and so she knows that I have like some amount of mechanical training now, which is great. I have 3 days to resolve her plot. Oof. So, I have a 3, a 5, and a 6 on my energy dice. I'm going to resolve the 3 under the Hunter and Killer one, because yikes. I must have forgotten. I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna move Hunter Killer down to 2 days. Because, like, I must have forgotten. If I didn't, you know, whatever. This happens. Sometimes they fight you faster than you expected. I'm gonna resolve the next challenge under Hunter Killer though, which was a king. So I'm spending the 6 that I rolled. The next challenge under them is a 9. I have a 5. Can I do anything? Yes. One of my challenges is a 5. It's the challenge under the, like, market social pressures. Which, I don't know why I would be... Oh, I know why I'm focusing on that. Like, I'm retrieving parts for Bliss, right? Like, it's just in... I'm not directly, because I'm not working on her challenges, but, like... Yeah, I'm just trying to make my connections so that that can go as smoothly as possible. My last energy die is a 5. Do I want a fortune die? I think what I want to do... I'm going to overspend. One of the challenges is a 2. I'm going to spend my 5 on that. But that is the challenge of the social maneuvering of the market. Wait, sorry, I forgot that I could spend... Okay, no, I'm gonna put that back. I'm gonna leave. Continue to let that drive sit. It's not quite as pressing. My next challenge on the Hunter Killer is a 9. So I could spend... It's a slight overspend, but that's okay, because I'm very scared of it. I'm going to spend one of my resources. The resource that I'm grabbing is the 6 worth of learning that I got from convincing the satellite team to, like, train me to do mechanical repair. I'm spending a 6 and a 5 from my energy dice to resolve the 9 from Hunter and Killer, because they're scary. And I think, like, that's pretty obvious. Like, I'm like interfacing with like mechanical components in a way that, like, makes it harder for them to track me. Like, maybe I'm even, like, when I'm logging in, I'm not putting my codes, I'm putting one of my, like, colleagues' codes, one of the people who trained me, which is a little bit risky because it could get us both in trouble, but I don't want them to find me. They're scary. So, that is the end of the day. Hunter and Killer going down to 1 day. I have to do that today, or they're gonna get me. And Bliss is going down to 2 days, which is intimidating as well, because I really want her to be my friend. I'm rolling 3 energy dice. I rolled a 3, a 4, and a 5. Okay, well... The last challenge under Hunter and Killer is a 7. I've got 4 challenges under Bliss. I have resources worth 7. I have a 3, 4, and a 5. I'm bad at things. Is it better to... I could spend the 7 resource directly on defeating Hunter Killer. Or I could spend the 7 and a 2. No. I think that'll do the least overspending. So that's what I'm gonna do. Which is perfect because the resource I have is the training of, like, it's the training that put me on their radar of learning how to interface with the satellites. And so I think what this is going to be something about me either trapping them in the satellite or redirecting them somehow. But I did it. So let's look. Positive resolution. The dogs turn on each other, killer screaming as Hunter's tentacles wrap around its blade-like head. How did you trick them into purging each other and what remains of them after their battle? Yeah, it's something to do with the satellite. I think that I've been learning how to use the communications software, and I make it so that, like, I seem to be in too many places. First it's that I'm moving fast, and then it's that I'm popping up at interfaces all over the eye, and then it's that I'm, like, calling in from somewhere else, like I'm calling in to the eye from ships outside, and, like, they're both chasing and getting confused and trying to find me, and then finally, like, turn on each other because just out of, like, confusion and, like, something is wrong, it must be you. Yeah, I think that's it. And I flipped Tala. Oh, I put a card face up on the face down. These cards are so beautiful. I find the backs and the fronts unfortunately hard to distinguish, which I think is just my brain being bad at interpreting things. So I flipped character card. I think what I'm going to do today is resolve one of these threads and then wrap up for the day. I feel like that's pretty good. Been going for 3 hours, which is crazy, but it's been really fun. So first, let's meet Tala. Tala. An energetic and bright-eyed bartender, she runs the Overlook, a humble watering hole she inherited from her father, but she wants her establishment to be more than just a space or dive bar and seeks to fulfill the dream her parents had for the place. You've taken to propping up in the bar in the Overlook on quiet days. Tala notices you and asks if you might want to help with something. What improvement to the bar does she suggest, and what plan do you make together to achieve it? I think because of the thread this is in, which was the, like, satellite cleaning and getting discovered by Hunter Killer and all that kind of stuff, it makes sense to me that it has something to do with communications. Oops. It isn't that she can do takeout. It isn't like getting a phone. It's let me make sure that this aligns with her kind of goals. I think it's she wants like TV or like movies or something in the bar. Just like adding more entertainment and like not even just entertainment. I think that she's wistfully talking about like culture. She's like, I hear that there are old radio shows and old movies just bouncing around in space. Echoes of satellite broadcasts that you can pick up. I want to pick them up. I want to play them. Can you help me get those signals from deep space to here? And I'm like, hell yeah, I can. Which is so fun. Yeah, that's really great. Okay. Probably won't get to that, but okay. Bliss. 2 days. 9. I have a 5 and a 4 in my energy, so I'm going to spend those to help her out running around. The next challenge from her is a 6. Ooh, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it for her. My last energy die is a 3. I'm going to resolve a challenge in the general market thing, which ties in perfectly to, like, I'm running around getting stuff for Bliss. I'm gonna turn Bliss's die down to 1, Tala's die down to 2. I have no way to recover any energy dice, so I'm rolling 3. Oh, ouch. I rolled 2 1s and a 5. So let's put that fortune die up to 2 as we exhaust a dice. I could spend my 1 and my 6 to do a challenge on Bliss, but I'm not gonna I'm not gonna finish it, so maybe it's not even worth it. Yep. I'm gonna spend 5 doing a challenge for Tala as I'm trying to figure out how to get her weird pirate movie station set up. Gay Crime Netflix set up for Tala in her bar. And I'm gonna just spend this other 1 to put my fortune die up to 3, and that's it. Oh boy. Let's see what the bad end with Bliss is. Sorry. I'm gonna go to bed. And I'm gonna turn Tala down to 1. And Bliss would go down to 0, so let's double check what that means. Yeah, okay. Pretty straightforward. I couldn't do it in time. And we are going to have a negative relationship. And what does that look like? The bay is empty, every last bit of equipment sold off to buy Bliss a ticket out of this mess. What's the last thing she says to you before she leaves? I mean, we didn't spend that much time together. I do think it should be, like, appropriately cutting in some way, but I don't know. Oh. I mean, she doesn't even mean to be, but she, like, she's not trying to be mean, like, it isn't really my fault, like, she was in a really desperate situation. It probably wouldn't have gone well for her, regardless of who helped. But I think that she says something that, like, I was gonna say that she implies that I'm, like, irresponsible, but I think it's not that. It's even, like, that she really doesn't mean it. She's trying to be kind. And she's just, like, talking about how
I'm a really good helper and a really good listener, and just sort of reinforcing this idea that like a thing I'm good at is helping other people, and I will never be my own boss, right? I will never have control over those things. And she doesn't mean for it to hurt as bad as it does, but it does. And what does it mean to finish all of the drives? When you resolve 2 characters in a single thread, you end that thread. When you conclude a thread, move the 2 resolved characters off to the side of the play area. They are now locked into your story. Through complications, drives, and characters, this thread has come to an end. You might have an ending in mind for this part of your sleeper story. Think about how you would summarize this thread. If you're journaling, So, they've got prompts for like if both characters are upright or reversed, which is like if you have a positive connection, they're upright, negative, they're reversed, and the one for one of each is you've struggled to find common ground and have been forced to make a difficult choice. How has this process changed you as a sleeper and your view of the I? So this whole thread ended up being about the idea that there were sleepers that hid these stashes all over the eye, right? And I think maybe what this is that like I confide in this. I tell Ishi, like, because she's like, why were you even trying to get into quarantine anyway when we met? And I tell her about what I was searching for, and I think I say like the trail has gone cold or something, like things are tough. I don't know where to go next. And she's like sympathetic, but I think that she's also like, I think you gotta choose if you want to like chase after sleepers or really become part of the community here. Excuse me. I get why you're interested in that, but like, don't separate yourself from us by connecting with that part of your past over what you have in your present, which is this community. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying you gotta be careful who you show your allegiances to. And I think about that. And I think ultimately, I agree, at least for now. I'm like, yeah, these sleepers, whoever they are, they don't seem to still be around. So maybe I don't even have anything to learn from them. And maybe I should just focus on proving to everybody here that I belong here and that I can be trusted. And so I stopped looking into the data that I collected. And that is sad in some ways, but it's also like I'm doing it for like I want to channel that energy in a positive way, you know? We'll see. I'm trying to decide if I want to leave it there or if I want to resolve Tala's thread, because it would be next. I think I'm gonna leave it there. Exactly where we are. I have one day. I'm going to bed on that day, right? When Bliss heads out. Knowing that the next day is my last chance to, maybe not knowing that the next day is my last chance to get Gay Crime Netflix hooked up for Tala, but knowing it's going to be busy, trying to make it work for her. And that's it. Yeah. And that's Cycles of the Eye, basically. Or at least a big chunk of it. This game is so lovely and cool. I will probably end up doing a main feed episode of it, you know, at some point in the future. If I can find other people who got copies of it. Thank you so much to Dorian for getting this for me as a gift. Thank you to the paid patrons on Patreon for voting for me to shuffle my adversary. You know me so well, and I got the one that I'm most excited about. I love Hunter and Killer. They're so weird. I think that's it. This has been Folio, a live stream about solo games. I've been your host, Seda. You can check out my work at gaygothvibes.online. You can find me on Blue Sky at posetachips.gaygothvibes.online. You can find the show at foliopod.card.co, or as of very recently, gaygothvibes.online/folio. Figuring out what I want from all of that. Is there anything else? No. I think I'm gonna start doing these streams publicly. Voting will still be for paid patrons. The VOD will exclusively go to paid patrons. But the idea that more people could stop by gives me a lot more drive to actually do the streams. And so, yeah, I think streams are going to be public, VODs are going to be for paid patrons, and then the edited audio-only version will go up on the bonus feed, which is for all members of the Patreon, including free members. I'm guessing that's the plan. I think I'm probably gonna let everybody know that coming up this month. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if there's other stuff that I say. I'm gonna be streaming again sometime shortly because I would like to make up February's stream that I did but got cut short because my brain fell apart. Yeah. Okay. Anything else?